Today we're going to talk about what do you do when someone wants to acquire your agency, how do you evaluate your agency, and what are the steps that you need to go through.
Welcome to the Smart Agency Masterclass, where you can legally steal what works and what doesn't.
All right, the first thing that you need to do that when someone comes to you about possible acquisition is not jump up and down and go nuts. You don't also want to tell everybody. No, you don't want to tell anybody. Now, they're going to come to you and they're going to say, look, Jason, I want to acquire your agency. And you're going to get all excited and be like, what do you need? Well, I'll send you my client list. I'll send you everything. Don't do that. That's crazy, because in the event that your agency is bought, most of the time it's by a bigger agency and they're your competitors. So you got to be very, very careful. Okay, so here's the steps that you need to follow. So someone's going to come to you, they're going to ask you about margins, revenue, growth, what's the percentage of your biggest client compared to the rest of your revenue? How many employees do you have? What's your profit margin? That kind of stuff. That's all fine because everybody can kind of figure that out anyway. And that's not any competitive advantage. They just want to make sure you're the right fit. Now, whatever they ask you, you have the total right to ask them back because you want to make sure that they have the same capability to buy you rather than just wasting your time. And this is before the letter of intent. I'll get into that in a second. But this is really pretty quick. And I also want you to think about what's the number do I need in my head to walk away with? And literally, this should be a cash deal, and you should be happy with the cash deal, not the earnout. Most of the time, people are going to try to pay you with profit and an earnout. And a lot of times you don't control that. So be happy with what you get in the cash, right? So when I sold my agency, I was happy with what we got in cash. And it was probably really good because I never did get the earnout because it's almost impossible. They set it up for, pretty much failure, unfortunately. And they're paying you based on the profit. But a lot of times when you join with the other company, cultures don't mesh, process systems, they don't mesh. And a lot of acquisitions are not successful in that part. So be happy with what you do in the cash. All right, so once you have that number in your head, you want to communicate that with the possible buyer and say, look, I don't have a for sale sign up on my agency. You approached me, right? Here's the things that you asked for. Now, put together a letter of intent. And this is basically kind of almost an evaluation of what they value your company at. And I'm going to, if you go to jasonswank.com/sellmyagency, right? I'm going to give you a chart that will give you a good valuation based on earnings before profits, which is EBITDA, okay? And so that will give you the multiple. So make sure you go to that website, and I'll have that website right below probably on this video, or maybe up there somewhere. I don't know, maybe it'll be somewhere. But make sure you go to that link, and it'll give you a good valuation because it's too long to go through. It's just a really good kind of starting point so you can figure it out. Now, this is only as a reference. People can pay a lot more or pay a lot less. You really need to figure out, why does someone want to buy you? Is it based on our specialization? That's why having a specialization is so key. Do they want to buy us based on revenue, our clients, based on our geographic region? Maybe they want a better foothold in the Southeast. So you need to try to figure that out after you start going through the letter of intent. So you can really kind of gain a snapshot, and then you can kind of control your own destiny. All right, so now after the letter of intent, now you're going through the due diligence. And they're going to be asking for all kinds of stuff. So make sure you have really ironclad NDAs, everything in place. Don't tell anybody, even if they tell you to tell your employees. They did that to me. I told my employees, and then they could have switched the deal at the last minute, and then we'd be kind of stuck. The other part too is you want to make sure that your client contracts are transferable without written knowledge, or without their permission, right? So most acquisitions are bought through an asset purchase, so they don't have to gain the liabilities, and it goes a lot quicker. And in the event that happens, most of the time they're probably buying you for a lot of your clients, right? And so if the client agrees, doesn't go with acquisition, because you have to literally get them to sign something, the deal could be off, and then you showed your hand to the client, and you lose the client. You lose your biggest client, and then the deal's off. And most of the time when you go through the due diligence, if you take your foot off the gas and that kind of stuff happens, you're done, okay? So don't do that. Also too, when you're going through the due diligence, just treat it as it's never going to happen. So many people get so excited when they're in this phase, the purchaser could pull out, and then you're toast. You stop selling. You start thinking of the stuff that you're going to buy. Don't do that, okay? So if you like this episode of the Smart Agency Masterclass, comment below on the website, comment below on iTunes, on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so you get these valuable information. If you think it's valuable, if you think it's completely crap, then don't do anything. Or, if you do think it's crap, comment below so you can tell me. Maybe you think the lighting or the stupid train in the background. I don't care. I just want to provide you value. I want to help you and provide resources that you didn't. And so I'm constantly putting out content for you. You're in a better place than I was. Okay? So go do that now. Don't celebrate because someone's coming to you to buy you. Celebrate after the deal is done.